Non, imam c'est Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wa-salatu wa-salamu ala Rasulillah, alhamdulillah. We've been blessed, alhamdulillah. Imam Harun, alhamdulillah, is visiting us from Congo. And the last time we had an interview with him was through Zoom because I was tied up with something. Alhamdulillah, we're in the Masjid As-Salam on Girard Avenue. And we have two honored, beautiful brothers from America, alhamdulillah. And we are going to interview them about the journey to Al-Islam. Inshallah ta'ala, fle misiri kone ano ala yake ani angal mami nyoga Imam Harun kabo Congo. Angal no nyoga temene la asro ne be barakero la donc ama se ka interview ke na en personne. Donc ala ya la tigani nyoga ni alhamdulillah. Amena interview ke ne anga ampalma fly americain onedo. Udona slama la chiko no bena afanya inshallah. Ne bena afo bomana kana Imam Harun mena afo français la inshallah. Akhi barakallahu fikum, can you please introduce yourself? I'm going to call you Sheikh. Sheikh, go and introduce yourself.
I'm Kasab Abdul Wali from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. SubhanAllah, my journey in accepting Islam. I was a student in the Philadelphia school system in the 7th grade. So at that time, I'm 12 years old. And one boy come to the classroom.
Strange boy.
Stranger. He's not from my class. I don't remember him. So he says, "Who wants to be Muslim?" He's yelling in the doorway. "Who wants to be Muslim?" At the time, I'm searching. I'm looking. Because I'm a Baptist. Christian Baptist boy. You see? So I'm saying, "Who wants to be Muslim? What's that?" He said, "They pray 5 times a day. And they worship Allah. And they follow Muhammad. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam." I said, "Oh yeah?" He said, "Yeah." Then he asked me, "What are you?" I said, "I'm a Baptist." Yeah. So he said, "So who's your prophet?" My father never told me. My father never told me. And by the way, my father's an ordained minister. Minister, Baptist man. See? But he never told me who my prophet is. So when he questioned me, I'm stuck, silent. So no one else was paying him any attention but me. Because at that time, I'm searching. Because I used to hide sometimes throughout the day and say to my false God, who can't help me, can't benefit me, can't do nothing for me, you see? Don't let me be like my father. Don't let me be like my father. Don't let me be like my father. That's what I used to say. But at the time, I'm not knowing about Rabbil Alameen. Allah, Allah's hearing me. False God can't do nothing. But Allah's hearing me. So what happens? This boy shows up and asks this question. And I'm saying, where they at? He says, they're right there on, what's that, Lancaster Avenue?
Lancaster Avenue.
Lancaster Avenue. In Philadelphia.
Wyalusing.
In Wyalusing, yeah. So I said, "Oh yeah?" He said, "Yeah." So that day the school let out, I went to the masjid. I left, went to the masjid. So on the way, I get there, open up the door. When I get further inside, the brothers are in sajda. I'm saying, this is it. 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 I'm seeing submission. That's been known to me. I'm not knowing nothing about worship. Nothing, not a thing. But I'm seeing submission. I'm seeing they're not worried about what's behind them. I'm saying, whoa, this is it. This is it. This is it. This is worship. This is worship. Not ever, because where I'm going to the Baptist boy. I ain't seen no worship. All I see a bunch of foolishness. Hooping and hollering. So when they got finished, I moved to the front. I said, I got to do that. I got to do that. I got to do that. Yeah. I don't know what to call it. But I got to do that. I got to do that. I got to do that. So the imam said, "You got to do what?" I said, "I got to do what you just did. I got to do that. I have to do that." "You got to pray?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "You're not Muslim?" I said, "No." So I take shahada that very day.
Allah. Allahu Akbar.
I didn't wait 6 months later, 4 months, 2 years, 5 years. No, that very day. At that time, I'm 12 years old.
Allahu Akbar.
This is what was something in me said, I don't want to be like my father. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to do that. So I take shahada. He said, look, you go home, take a shower, and you gotta come back and have class every day. You go to school? I said, yeah. He said, where's your school? School was Solberger Junior High, 48th and Brown Street. So he said, you come on back. Yeah, very close. So he said, you come back every day, and you come back tomorrow, and we're gonna help you learn how to pray. I said, okay. So I leave there, I go home. My mother worked at night shift. My parents were divorced at that time. So I get to the house, I go inside, take my shoes off. I said, Mom. She said, yeah. I said, I can't eat no more pork. That's the first thing come out my mouth. I can't eat no more pork. She said, yeah, what's wrong? What happened? I said, Mom, I can't eat no more pork because I accepted Islam and Muslims don't eat pork. And you didn't tell me the whole story, the rest of the story. What do you mean? What story? You didn't tell me about Muhammad. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You didn't tell me about him. You didn't tell me the rest of the story. Because they didn't tell me about the Prophet of Rasulullah. They didn't tell me. So he said, oh boy, you go ahead, boy, you go ahead. I said, okay. So I went, took my shower, you know. And then after school that day, I went to class. From that day on, I went to class. I learned how to pray. Learned how to recite chapters of the Quran, small chapters of the Quran.
Allahu Akbar.
Alhamdulillah.
Anbamaki, alhamdulillah, les donas la mala choromna. Astro, il avait 12 ans. 12 ans, avec la secondaire, avec l'école là. Donc, tous classiconal la drogue, Camerouni, Jenin do dona kuka classiconal la kafouye, ko Dieu fait quelque slamae. Dieu me fait quelque slamae. Donc, au konna la leni Camerouni échanger ko kuma na nyo fait. Camerouni ya yinia, ko mouya le ko kale baptiste, kale chrétien. Camerouni ko ale islamae kuruka chile Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wala Camerouni ya le yinia, ko eka chile enjoy. Ale ko nta donde ko fache ma foi fonye. Anga chide mi fache ma fonye. Donc, au Kondar, alhamdulillah, au Kofe, a décidé, parce que comme il y a kuma jouera ka trop quoi, a décidé kata misri la dondo. A kelen kata misri la do a so silamau ou be sujudula, sujud. A so silamau be sujudula. Donc a kelen ko yorom na dro akono koni ne dina nyumae. Koni ne bato yera. Ko parce que église là, ay mana ko drone ani don kuntam, ka yo drone no. Quand le cogné bateau drone, imaginez, mais il avait 12 ans en ce moment. Satan anifla. Donc, au Kona là, à quel ko yo la drone, à quoi no, kale bena doslamea la, aye almamini yako, à quoi reko, kale meka fa almami, comme fait kanini yoke, me fait kanini yoke. Almami ke me fait kamunyo yoke, quoi avec kamin keke. Almami ko keke slamea, ko no connaît slamea, o la kalimatu shahadata almami al slamea la. Il avait 12 ans, donc à signa kataso. Atrafa bamso akelen ka doso kona la ka bamso ma kom bamso connaître les soko din tugum ko ngera slama resista ka mes kan intel les soko din tugum bamso ko ekra slama chodi akon bamso ma ko etle kelema Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ka kuma fone donc ko ekra slama resista ola almami mi ya shahada da almami ko kama kaka toka na misri la kala donc alhamdulillah atura kata misri la ay la kala ay kurana ni kala barakallahu fikum ya sheikh ana beautiful story may Allah azza wa jalla preserve you ambal anga ustad Harun ale bena traduit français la our ustad is going to translate what I just said in Bambara in French
inshallah اسمه ذكرنا باسمه قبل الإسلام وبعد الإسلام.
Two names.
What was your name before
Kasaba,
Islam
Kasaba.
and after
Oh,
Islam?
Reginald Foster. Before
For-
Islam.
Before Islam
Yes.
is
Reginald Foster.
Rajul
Foster.
Foster.
Yes.
okay. After Islam,
Kasaba Abdul Wali.
Abdul Wali.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.
Allah.
Nous remercions Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, notre frère Abdul Wali, Inch'Allah ta'ala, qui nous a tout à l'heure relaté l'histoire de sa conversion à l'islam. Inch'Allah, une histoire qui nous touche et qui nous interpelle. Il dit s'est converti à l'islam à l'âge de 12 ans. C'est un Américain noir, originaire des États-Unis, de Pennsylvanie, il est de Philadelphie. Il dit c'est au cours d'une leçon à l'école où ils étaient en classe et un jeune homme est rentré et ce jeune homme a dit qui parmi vous veut devenir musulman? Comme ça, Allah Akbar, l'importance de la dawa. Qui parmi vous veut devenir musulman? Il dit lui, soudainement, il a levé la main, il dit moi, je vais devenir musulman. Le jeune l'a demandé mais toi, c'est quoi ta religion? Si tu veux te convertir en islam, mais tu étais quoi? tu étais dans quelle religion? Il dit, je suis chrétien, j'étais chrétien. Il dit, mais chez vous les chrétiens, qui est votre prophète et messager? Il dit, du coup, il n'avait pas de réponse à donner. Il a dit, je ne sais pas, mon père ne me l'a pas dit. Il dit, donc, cette parole-là, n'est-ce pas, l'a touché. Et lui, il a demandé, c'est quoi l'islam? Et les jeunes l'expliquaient, non, l'islam, c'est de croire en Allah et au prophète Mohammed sallallahu qui est le dernier messager à l'humanité tout entière. Cette parole l'a touché. Vous voyez, souvent, on fait des petits gestes, mais ces gestes-là, ça peut avoir des impacts plus tard très positifs. Il dit, après cela, lui, il s'est rendu dans une mosquée, là où les musulmans, n'est-ce pas, étaient. Et il a vu, dès qu'il est rentré dans la mosquée, il a trouvé les musulmans prosternés, Allahu Akbar, mettre leur front sur la terre. Dès qu'il a vu ça, ça l'a touché. Immédiatement après la prière, il allait voir l'imam, il a dit, je veux faire comme vous. La manière que vous êtes en train de faire, c'est ça la vraie adoration. Ce que nous faisons à l'église, ça ce n'est pas l'adoration. On chante, on danse, on fait du n'importe quoi là-bas. Mais là, ici, vous mettez le front sur la terre. Alors c'est ça la vraie religion. Je veux me convertir à l'islam. Il dit c'est comme ça qu'Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, n'est-ce pas, la facilité, l'imam l'a donné le shahada. Et il est reparti à la maison. Il a dit à sa mère, à partir d'aujourd'hui, le viande de porc pour moi est interdit. C'est fini pour moi. Je suis musulman. Sa mère lui dit, c'est quoi cette histoire? Il dit, ouais, mais vous m'avez jamais parlé de l'islam pendant que c'est la religion de la vérité. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. Regardez ce bonheur. C'est ce frère. Depuis ce temps-là, il avait 12 ans. Now, il a quel âge?
How old are you?
65.
65. Ok. Maintenant, il a 65 ans.
65
ans. Maintenant, il a 65 ans. Depuis qu'il avait l'âge de 12 ans, il s'est converti à l'islam. Et alhamdulillah, qu'Allah le maintient. Ainsi que nous tous à l'islam, hatta al-mamat, inshallah.
Inshallah, wa Sheikh, our next Sheikh, inshallah, we want to hear your story. Barakallahu feekum.
Allah merciful, gracious. Oh, okay. Everybody knows more than me in this technical stuff.
If you want, I can also record it. You can, if you want a video recorder, I got you.
No, not video. Just
okay. All right.
Let's roll. So, alhamdulillah. Actually, I have two stories because I accepted Islam like twice, actually. So, first time, I claimed Islam by studying and reading African history. So I kind of fell in love with Kenya, and I was learning. I was going to class all the way up in. I was living here in Philadelphia, but going to class all the way up in New Jersey to learn Swahili, Kiswahili, and also when I entered Temple University, you know, I was still studying Kiswahili, African history, and these things like this. I was a nationalist and member of the Black Panthers Party during my late teens and what have you. So everything was aiming at Africa, and I was planning on, as soon as I started getting income, to go to Africa and visit. And I wanted to see. Also, especially, I wanted to go to Uganda and meet Idi Amin, you know? That was like a big hero that he fought the Europeans and this and that, you know, and did what he did, you know? So anyhow, so I was claiming I was Muslim when I entered high school. When I entered high school, I was about 15 years old or so. So at 15, I picked a Muslim named Talib. So because I was seeking. So I was, so and I started a club, social club also for, you know, having parties and this and that. So I was the president of the social club. So I was using my Muslim name for all of my street activities. In the street in America, you usually have a nickname. So my nickname, one of my nicknames was Skip. That was from my mother. My mother gave me the nickname Skip because I used to skip to school. So anyway.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, so that's, so at 14, 15, you know, I fell in love with Islam. One of the my first big hero that came to Philadelphia so many times on visits, we used to go and see him parade and dance around with his gloves. He was like 17, 18 years old, Cassius Clay. So Cassius Clay, he accepted Islam at about 17. So he went to, and he wouldn't go to Vietnam War. He said religious exemption. He's Muslim. We Muslims, his leader told the people in the Nation of Islam that we don't go to American war because America is the enemy country. It's against blacks. Took blacks from Africa, brought them here, and enslaved them. So this is an enemy that does things like and beating, killing you, and selling you and separating your families. So I had studied all of that during my studies of African-American relationship. So at 15, I took Muhammad Ali. You shook his hand one time and this and that, and I took Muhammad Ali as being my role model.
The boxer?
Boxer, yeah. We all boxing and stuff and gang warning. We box semi-professional boxers in the street by that time, 16 years old.
So you knew each other personally?
No, not personally, shake his hand. I mean,
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, this is my role model. At that time, I was 15 and going on 16. So also, he belonged to the Black Muslim sector. It was called the Black Muslims Nation of Islam. So I started going to hear from the Nation of Islam and start cooperating and participating, getting their newspapers. And I was a reader, so I was studying their newspapers, reading the words of Elijah Muhammad and what have you, and his advices. Don't eat pork, as he said. It was one of the first things I started avoiding pork, which was very difficult because your parents and everything. If I went to my family's house, that don't go. So 16 years old, and right about then, I had joined the Black Panther Party, and we were firebombing and starting to learn how to fight the white folks in urban warfare. Guerrilla brothers were coming back from Vietnam and training us and teaching us in how to riot. And by 16, 17, I was flying around the country, participating in some of these things, rights demonstrations. My mother took me to the first one, and also there was one of the speakers at the first Poor People's March on Washington, and they took him out of there. They took him away, not to let him speak in public. Was Malcolm X. They called it. His name was Malcolm Little, but they called him Malcolm X. And so the first time I saw him, so that became another one of my role models. So very soon I started getting their information in the newspaper. Muhammad Speaks, that's that Muhammad Elijah. Elijah Poole, AKA Elijah Muhammad from Chicago, which was the leader of that Nation of Islam. So I sent a letter to Chicago to get join that group and to pledge my allegiance, to Allah and his messenger, Astaghfirullah, Elijah Muhammad. And now I was longing to and waiting for the next time that Farrakhan or one of those leaders like that will come to Philadelphia or New York, get close enough that I could go, because I used to go to New York frequently. I had sheikhs, African sheikhs up there in New York that I was learning, and in New Jersey that I was learning that Africanism from. And we had land, I belonged to the organization ARD. And we had land in upstate New York because we were going to make our own farm, grow our own food, raise our own animals. Brother Love had a big pig farm right up the street from us on Lake Seneca. So we were ready to go into exile and everything, And some people were working on making our, changing our citizenship. You had to be like 18, I think, change your citizenship so you'd be African. I would have picked Kenya for that. So anyway, I was calling myself Talib, and I was the first editor of Black Talk magazine also. We had underground newspapers, Black Panthers paper, and even the Nation of Islam, their newspaper, national, international, was semi-underground, because FBI and everybody was watching us and, monitoring us and sending spies and agents all in amongst us and stuff like that. So, alhamdulillah, 16, I went to New York. I stayed up there for some days and took a room, and I was going to a big place, in Harlem, a big black auditorium, very close to where Malcolm spoke and got killed in '65. They murdered him. He came to New York to speak, and in his speech, before I could even get to listen to him personally, they killed him the first day he went to speak at this place up there in Harlem. So I was brokenhearted, and I was very angry when they killed Malcolm. Then the FBI killed him. They had agents right in there with him, associating with him all the time. So I came back to Philadelphia 16, and we went to the Poor People's March on Washington, second time down there to Washington. They trapped us in a park, and they were going to execute all of us. I was waiting for the president to give the word, but Allah wouldn't allow, I think that was LBJ, Allah wouldn't allow him to give the permission. All he had to do, actually, in the code that they used, was when the chiefs of police and all of them, they asked him, what should we do? you got 100,000, more than 100,000 black people tented out behind the White House at the Lincoln Memorial, and took over the place. And you got another 100,000 white folks behind them, and they want something done about this, or they'll do it. So my heart changed right there in that place. My heart changed. I said, we're gonna die. We might die here for this thing, for this black thing. You know what I mean? And I was considering Allah to be my God because I thought Allah was like black. Astaghfirullah. So my first idea of Allah was that it's the big kind of black man in heaven. That's the kind of vibe they give you. And even in their paper and some of the records and albums they were making, they pictured the angels as black. Everything in heaven is black. Allah, the angels, and all of these white folks, they're from an island, out in the ocean, and they had their own colony. They were following a Yaqub, an evil wizard. I mean, I'm saying evil, but they used to say that was, evil wizard who invented the white people and gave them their special food formula to eat, so that they could maintain their, who they were. So that was a psychological thing. When I got in college, I started studying, and that start disappearing. I said, wait a minute, these black Muslims, they have a spaceship up in the sky. It's going to destroy all the white people, flying saucer. And they used to teach like that. You see the flying saucers, when they say that people are seeing flying saucers, they're seeing Allah Allah flying around in his kingdom, waiting for the right opportunity when there's enough Muslims on the world to run the world, enough of us to run the world, then they're going to drop a special bomb down here, and that poison will kill all the white people. So that's what the Nation of Islam's belief was and what they were teaching their people. All these white devils, they used to call them. So around 17, by that time, I was a scientific and mathematician, science and a mathematician. Actually, one of my jobs was after school, I used to tutor students and help them with their homework because we were about education, the mind. Very, very important thing that they used to preach about, that we have to take our minds back from the white people's slavery, mental slavery. So 17, I was a teacher, and we were on Reed Street. We had our first school in one house on Reed Street. We rented that building. We had a school and a panel of adults over us, but they were all Christians, mostly all Christians. One brother was there. He was one used to see the stronger and most intelligent and really dedicated ones from amongst our organization, or the Panther Party, and other related groups, NABS, National Association of Black Students. I was one of their representatives and made me the first black president of the Black Student Council in Catholic school. So I was getting to be a real target. We were rioting in Catholic school because they killed Malcolm. We were rioting. And when they killed Malcolm X, and Kennedy had already been killed, so we were rioting in the schools, walking out of the schools and doing all this, even the Catholic schools. So I became a national leader like that. I'm flying around the country giving speeches, doing high school, Denver, Colorado, up there in New York, Albany, New York, New Jersey, Trenton, New Jersey, the college there, Rugby or whatever, Rutgers College. So I was behind the leaders of the Black Panther Party. They locked all of them up, this California 6. So Huey Newton and all of them were also, and our secret code for communication between us was Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. If you greet somebody or somebody's calling you and we carrying on conversations, etc., if they didn't know, some of these Arabic expressions, which Kenyan language, 1/3 of the language of Kenya was Arabic. I didn't know. La was, no, and Nam was yes. Aki, Ndugu. I was learning Swahili also, Ndugu and Dada and all of that. So anyhow, first time I went to a masjid was actually I was passing the masjid all the time, right across the street from where he accepted Islam. I was passing the masjid right there on Lancaster Avenue. And the Muslims would come out. But I thought it was an African sect, like an African Muslim sect. International Muslim Brotherhood was the sign on the outside of the wall. First Sunni African American masjid in Philadelphia. 1947, they got the building. 1949, they had fixed it and they were open. So I'm watching them coming in and out and going from Salat and Juma, all out there, gathered out there. And I used to appreciate it. I was being drawn to that because the sisters, out there, nice, beautiful. They used to give out food in the park, free. So alhamdulillah, I was being Islamized slowly but surely. My first people I seen make Salat, I was going to an African boutique, African Emporium on Shelton Avenue. But that was run by two Sunni Orthodox Muslims, one of whom studied in Pakistan, and he was the Qari of Quran, Qari Latif. So Qari Latif and Sheikh Abdul Karim Ahmed, Qari Latif passed away, rahmallah, but Sheikh Abdul Karim Ahmed, he's still alive here. His sons are scholars, they studied in Sudan, his son Luqman and another one. And so their children are becoming scholars. His grandson is a big sheikh. He used to teach this mashayikh in Yemen. An Afro-American born boy, raised in Islam and went to the Muslim school most of his life and went overseas and studied in Sudan and excelled, and then went to Arabia and a couple other places to get history, the knowledge of the correct history. And then he went to Yemen, big teacher over there. So that's Abdul Rahman. Barakallah fihi. He's still alive. So alhamdulillah, a third teacher was the one brother, he had studied in Arabia. He studied in what's that called? Lebanon. He studied in American University American Islamic University of Lebanon. And he excelled. And then he went to Egypt, Al-Azhar, first Afro-American convert from our neighborhood who went to Azhar. He came back and started teaching in Abdul Karim's house. So I used to go to those Sunday morning teaching instead of going to church. I was cut off from the Catholic Church. So one other thing that caused me to leave the shirk, that's the separate story. At the same time, my hobby was hunting, fishing, camping, and all of that. So I had a second father like that. My father working 2 jobs almost all his life. So he didn't have time really to handle me in deep things, baseball, basketball, football, and all that. Boxing. He taught, he was a boxer too, World War II veteran, decorated veteran boxing. But I had another surrogate father because I was going with his daughter, 15 years old, we going together. So 16, we got married by the Bible. I didn't know he was a Native American. I didn't know I was a Native American, you know, from the tribe, this Delaware tribe, this our land that we're sitting on now, that they took from our tribe. And 1/3 of the Delaware tribe, almost 1/3 of them were Sunni Muslims, connected with Africa, African people going back and forth here. The book, hundreds of years before Columbus.
Excuse me, Sheikh.
Yep.
So right now you're about to speak about how you you left the nation of Islam, you became Muslim.
Attracted to the Sunni Muslims, yeah.
Okay.
Orthodox Muslims.
Okay, now if you don't mind, we want to translate
that, I'm sorry.
No
Yeah.
problem. So Sheikh, I just want to get clarity. So all this story you just mentioned, you were from the nation of Islam. You didn't come to real Islam yet.
I was born in the Roman Catholic Church and went through the Roman Catholic school.
Yeah, and then
Roman Catholic high school.
Yeah.
And I went to public school. I was going to 2 high schools same time.
Yeah, I'm saying the story that
Yes.
the story you just mentioned,
Yeah.
you were still with the nation of Islam.
No, I was between. I was listening to both sides up to I never saw a Sunni. couldn't get friendship with a Sunni Muslim.
So you had never become Muslim then?
I became Muslim, but I didn't take the physical shahada. There was nobody giving shahada yet
Okay.
that I knew of.
How you became Muslim without taking the shahada? So meaning you were not a Muslim because you officially didn't take
Hey,
the shahada.
everybody born Muslim. Allah put me back to my Islam.
Tayyib.
All right, there you go. That
All
point.
right. Inshallah.
I was calling Allah, mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's too much for you to translate.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Remember, I was 15 years old, calling, saying my God's Allah.
Okay.
But I had the wrong impression of because of some of the papers I was reading, Last Poets and all that, albums I was listening to, and books that I was getting from this bookstore where the 2 Sunni Muslims were. I'm coming to that right now. I was going to their bookstore for years, and they didn't have the books I needed on African history and all of that language because I had to go to the third store downtown. That's on 52nd Street. So I read all about all kind of Islam and all kind of Muslims, and I'm saying I was Muslim, consider myself Muslim, but I didn't get inside a masjid where prayer was going on like he did.
Okay. Now the question for you is that you believed in Allah.
Oh yeah.
Did you believe in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Yeah, Muhammad was a prophet of Allah. Yeah.
But you view Allah to be a black man.
Yellow man. Yeah.
Yellow man.
His complexion. Yeah. Elijah Muhammad was black.
Tayyib.
That was a shock.
I definitely
also.
gotta summarize this.
Yeah.
So the Sheikh Hafidahullah Ta'ala. The Sheikh has a funny story though. It's a beautiful story. Oh, I gotta translate in Bambara. Donc, on a traduit, on a traduit Kasrinya.
Inch'Allah.
Parce que comment il y a donc, à l'époque, quand on 15 ans, Dina Diaraye, à Dalen Kundo Alalala, à Dalen Kundo Alala, mais à l'époque, Alakunye Mokofimani. Et puis, Fana, Oulu Bolo Fana, mais les cas où Mokofimani. Donc, aucune mentalité ils étaient Oulu Kume Mokojema au contrôle. Imaya. Donc, on a la histoire là, le grand boxeur, Mohamed Ali Diaraye, Malcolm X Fana Diaraye. C'est quand Malcolm X rencontré Dominaire, au Don et Ouafra.
Allah.
À quoi FBI a fait au Don là, allez au fond. De toutes les façons, au quoi fait ça? Avec quoi tu as fait Afrique Diaraye, Kenya Diaraye, Atara Kenya, tout ça là, Kenya. Avec comment dire
Kenya.
Kenya. Donc avec tout ça, l'Afrique Diaraye, Uganda, Idi Amin, Olu Fana Diaraye, tout ça là. Mais ils étaient contre les Blancs. Donc, au Kona la 600, avec la histoire, si on allait à Moué, jusqu'à ce qu'elle allait de commettre un rôle, la lecture du Mouroma, tout ça là. Et puis, à Koko Wati, allait mathématique, professeur de mathématicien et scientifique. Scientifique, donc, on a alhamdulillah, avec comment me tout ça là. Mais si ça avait à Koufarako, à la voyagé dans la New York, les Africains de New York, ou l'oufra à la Carancorana, c'est Corona, au coffre dans Philadelphie, au coffre New York, au coffre dans Philadelphie, les Américains noirs de rencontrer Mie Kalanke, et il faudra qu'on mette Dourou, tout ça là, à Tarakaranga, Arabie Saoudite. Si ça avait un foyer, si ça, à donner un analyse, à Canada, Sunamo, Doncho, du Canada, Slamea, il là. Parce que allez beka foka ale kunye silama mais allez ma kalimatu shahadata ma kon dalan kundo alala adalan kundo akachidina na fadal cheikh
Inch'Allah, alhamdulillah. Notre papa ici, what's your name?
Abdullah.
Abdullah.
Abdul Muqaddam Abdullah.
Inch'Allah. Notre papa ici, Inch'Allah ta'ala, your age?
Oh, man. Over 70. 75, over 75.
75.
75.
Ça c'est 75.
75 ans. Donc, alhamdulillah, notre papa ici, Abdullah, qui a aujourd'hui 75 ans, alhamdulillah, c'est quelqu'un qui passe pratiquement toutes ses journées dans la mosquée. Il peut venir à la mosquée ici, il fait 3 jours avant de partir. Pendant qu'alhamdulillah, il a ses moyens, il a tout. Mais il sacrifie tout ça pour Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alors, il nous relate comment est-ce qu'il s'est converti à l'islam. Il dit, lui, il a découvert l'islam à travers le célèbre boxeur Mohamed Ali, Inch'Allah ta'ala, au moment où Mohamed Ali s'est converti à l'islam, et également Malcolm X, qui ont vraiment fait beaucoup de bruit lorsqu'ils se sont convertis à l'islam. C'est en ce moment que lui également, il s'est intéressé à l'islam. Mais au fait, l'islam, et ça c'est une réalité que moi-même j'ai vue, l'islam que ceux-là, n'est-ce pas, prônaient, n'est pas le vrai islam. Parce que eux, dans leur mentalité, l'islam, c'est pour les noirs. La peau blanche n'a pas sa part dans la miséricorde. La peau blanche, c'est les chétans. La peau blanche, c'est tout ce qui est mauvais, c'est tout ce qui est diable. Les anges sont noirs. Allah Azza wa Jalla, subhanallah, et on dit subhanallah, Allah Azza wa Jalla lui-même il est noir. Alors donc, c'est ces mentalités-là qui étaient dans leur tête, avec, n'est-ce pas, leurs mouvements. Donc, et ce mouvement-là l'avait attiré. Et le jour où lui s'est déplacé pour aller voir Malcolm X, pour le rencontrer, il dit c'est ce jour-là que Malcolm X a été, n'est-ce pas, assassiné.
Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz.
Al-Hajj Malik Shabab qui avait changé son nom, et Malcolm X qui avait compris après que la voie qu'ils étaient en train de suivre avec les missions musulmanes,
Nation of Islam.
Nation of Islam, que c'était pas l'islam, mais c'était autre chose qu'ils étaient en train de faire. Alors, lorsque lui, voilà, il a pris contact avec eux, mais bon, finalement, lui, il n'avait pas vu comment se détacher d'eux, et finalement, chez lui, c'était ça l'islam. Donc, il était avec eux, c'était un grand leader, machallah, c'est un mathématicien, c'est un professeur. Donc, machallah, il s'est déplacé, n'est-ce pas, d'une ville à une autre ville, d'un état à un autre état, pour aller, n'est-ce pas, propager, n'est-ce pas, cette aqidah-là, en pensant que c'est l'islam que lui, il est en train de prêcher. Mais malgré qu'il est en train de faire tout ça, tous ces mouvements, dans ces années, il n'a même pas prononcé les kalimat shahada. C'est pour vous dire que ce qu'ils sont en train de faire là-bas, ce n'est pas l'islam, ça n'a rien à voir avec l'islam. Personnellement, j'ai été à Chicago la semaine passée, je suis allé visiter, n'est-ce pas, leur mosquée. Quand tu vois à l'extérieur, tu vois les minarets et tout ça, mais quand tu rentres, la seule chose peut-être qu'on peut dire qui est musulman, c'est le salam qu'il te donne. Sinon, à part ça, il n'y a rien que l'islam, n'est-ce pas, là-bas. Donc, c'est dans ce mouvement-là qu'il était, jusqu'à ce qu'il est venu à New York, il a rencontré, machallah, alhamdulillah, un frère musulman, un américain noir, qui avait étudié en Arabie Saoudite et qui pratiquait le vrai islam. Et lorsque lui, il a croisé, alhamdulillah, il a commencé à apprendre l'islam et il va nous expliquer maintenant comment est-ce qu'il est venu réellement musulman après, n'est-ce pas, ce temps passé avec mission musulmane, Inch'Allah.
Now, Sheikh, inshallah, go ahead and tell us how you became now
In the masjid.
in the masjid, Sunni Muslim now. Now,
So alhamdulillah.
yeah, if you can
First
really
time I seen
summarize
you.
it for us, summarize.
Yeah, that's why I said let him go first.
Yeah.
Inshallah. So at age, I was doing this late teens, 17, 18, like I was saying, I was picking up materials and reading materials from Abdul Karim Ahmed Habibi Incorporated, and became friends with Qadi Abdul Latif. With Qadi Abdul Latif. So they were, they were grown men. They were older than me, 4 or 5, maybe 5 years older than me, and they were running their business and quite successful in business. And so they were a role model for me. So I used to sit with them while I'm talking and discussing the books in African history. They used to be giving me dawah, actually, and they were softly giving me dawah. They don't argue. So if I would have said that, like, I wouldn't have said it because I didn't believe that Allah is a human being. I wasn't really believing that. So if I would have came out and said, well, I follow the Nation of Islam, or I follow Malcolm X, for instance, or I follow Malcolm X might have worked because they hadn't killed him yet. But anyway, if I said I follow Muhammad Ali's religion, if I was saying I was following Muhammad Ali's religion, then they would have maybe, scolded me or corrected me and said, no, he believed in that man up there, that Allah came to Chicago and made this guy his a prophet. They would have nixed me, they would have cut me off, they would have nixed me, they would have counseled that. And they might have told me the straight story. But, like I said, I was quite good at strategizing, so I didn't want to make no trouble with them. But one day, a couple of times, when I came there, I'd come in my lunch break. My school was all the way down South Philly. I come out of there when the kids go to lunch, school time, lunch, 12 to 1. So I'd go up to their store to get the books and stuff I needed. Often, according to what season it was probably, they would, once I got my stuff all settled, all on the counter and ready, they ring it up. And then I'm getting my money out of writing my check. They'd say, look, give us 5 minutes, brother, you know what I mean? And they'd go and make salat. So they go in the room, they leave the merchandise out there on the counter with me, and they'd go into the back room. So they'd leave the door cracked in case somebody came in, It said if somebody comes in, just tell them we're taking our 5-minute break. We'll be right with you. Keep an eye on them for us. Yes, sir. So one time or two times, they leave the door cracked. So I was looking at the books and this and that, moving around, I guess, and I got to a spot where I could see them standing, Cardi and Abdul Karim standing, and then they bent over, and behind the desk you can only see their butts, you know what I mean? They bent over, and they were bent over, and I'm looking. So I thought, well, maybe there's something on the mouse, something on the floor, roaches or something, They stand back up, and then they back down again. So Shaitan, he telling me, they just, they have something on the floor, maybe the carpet, and I'm looking at they came back. Second time I came to their store, and similarly, they left me there and, to get my check together. And they took 5 minutes and went into the room. One, he said he had to use the bathroom.
Sure,
so he did that.
I'm sorry for cutting you off. Can you get to the point?
I asked them what they were doing.
When you took the Shahada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I became a Sunni Muslim.
Okay, you got 5 whole minutes.
Okay, go
5
ahead.
minutes.
Okay, I'm
It's
sorry.
8:24 now.
All right,
8:30
go ahead.
we done.
I'll let you speak, inshallah. Go ahead.
8:30 we done.
Take your time.
So Abdul Kareem, they came out, and I asked them, hey, what are y'all doing in there, So they told me we were making our prayer. We're Muslims, we got to pray at 12 o'clock, at noon. So I said, making your prayer. I said, you got to bow down and do all of that, making your prayer. He said, yeah, you wanna watch us? I said, yeah. So I went in there, they made their sunnahs, I guess. Went in there, and the two of them made their sunnahs, and then they explained it to me. So I said, well, that's interesting. Very shortly after that, we hired a secretary. The chief lady in our place. I hired a secretary. Secretary was a Sunni Orthodox holy sister. Hijab everything. First person I met with hijab. And speaking Arabic and stuff like this. So she was secretary for our organization, so she became my secretary. And she was librarian. So when I used to come to see her at lunchtime and lunch break in the library, get some books, this, that, or whatever, sometimes she's down there behind her desk. One time I called her, she down there behind her desk with her face on the floor. I come and ask the other one, what's she doing? They told her she's practicing witchcraft. She's a Muslim, and she's practicing witchcraft. And, we're having a problem with that. And also, she don't eat lunch with us and nothing like that, so she was fasting. So soon I talked to her 1 or 2 times. She told me what Islam was. And that you got to make probably top 5 times prayer. So her husband named Mahmoud, may Allah bless him, he's still alive. So he came 1 time or 2 times, and I asked him, he invited me to the mosque. He said, you need to come, brother, you want to know what Islam? I came pick my kids up. I'm coming from work, pick my kids up. I don't have time to give you a little detail now. You need to come up to masjid and you'll get the full detail. So soon that brother, our sword fighting teacher, he was a famous sword fighter in America, Afro fencers, Jim Moss, may Allah accept him. And Jim Moss, he used to send people he said, don't go to the temple, go up there to the Sunni masjid, Dar al-Islam, up on Ogans Avenue up in Philadelphia, northern Philadelphia. So he was sending people from our place, brothers and sisters from our place up there to Ogans Avenue to see the real Islam, find out what Islam is. And they coming back with Muslim, and they start to make salat prayer and avoiding pork and like this, changing their lives. So alhamdulillah, I got into college. In college, I was still calling myself Muslim, and I was calling myself Orthodox Muslim, like Malcolm is. Malcolm had changed. Muhammad Ali had changed to the Orthodox. So alhamdulillah, that's when I started calling myself an Orthodox Muslim or a Sunni Muslim. So alhamdulillah, in college, Temple University, in college, I met a brother named Mujahid. He used to sell on the campus. I just found out just a couple of years ago, he never went to college. He was just there selling incense oils, selling incense oils and giving dawah. So I met Mujahid. So we became friends. He gave me some pamphlets about Islam, alhamdulillah. We happened to show up at the same job together. Allah sent him I was working for Channel 6 going into television. I was going to go national. I was on TV already. So I was getting ready to they gave me a program, FYI, for your information. It's still on TV. I was the first editor of Black Talk magazine. It's still a first national black magazine. That's why I said there's a lot of stuff in here. So alhamdulillah, he was making salat from our job. He never go in the dark room. He didn't make pictures. He's a photography teacher, but not making any pictures or any films. So we're asking him about that, and he's telling us, it's about Allah. We have to follow Allah, So I teach y'all how to do this, but I don't do this because I'm Muslim and I follow Allah. And he used to say, inshallah and mashallah for everything. I learned those words from him. So he said, if you want to know the detail, we have a program in the masjid on Wednesday nights. You need to come up there Wednesday night with me. Or on Friday noon, lunch break, we go up there together. So I start going to the mosque, taking them on my bike 10 miles up here to the masjid, and I'll sit through the Jummah. 1 or 2 or 3 times like that. So, alhamdulillah, one Wednesday night, Allah subhanahu woke me up 4 o'clock in the morning. I thought it was a lightning thunderstorm coming. My windows was wide open, all the windows open. It was in April or May. May, I think so, early May. So thunderstorm, I had all my windows open. So a big flash came, I thought that's lightning. So I went and start shutting my windows. But I looked up in the sky, all the stars are there, clear skies. I said, well, what that, might be the electricity. We had 3, 4 buildings. So I said, it might be the electricity. I'm gonna check the electricity. I checked the electricity. My dogs, I had a whole kennel in the yard, a whole zoo. whole kennel in the yard. So the dogs, they see me turning the lights on at an unusual time. They start barking out there. They, throw us some food. Come on down and feed us. Give us an early and late night snack. So I'm saying maybe somebody's messing around. So I went downstairs, checked. Nobody messing around. Nobody trying to break in. I come back upstairs, and I said, that was strange. 3 days before that, missed it. 3 days before that, that brother that I was friends with, Mujahid, and working with 8 hours every day here, and I was taking him to the mosque, he gave me a warning. I happened to be in the bookstore, but that's another story what was going on in the bookstore. I was going to abduct a white girl, maybe, She had her hair stand on end, and I was behind her. I was armed and everything because I had to walk around armed. One more minute, because
one more minute.
Black Muslims are going to abduct me and take me to the mosque.
Yeah, so we want to know, when did he actually take the kalim shahada?
This is it right here.
All right, go ahead.
I'm watching that clock. So, and we got to deduct 2 minutes for you. So, Mujahid, I saw him in the bookstore one time. I saw him in the bookstore, Temple University bookstore. Many lines, maybe it's April, May. It's May because people are buying the books for summer school and for the coming year. So I was behind this white girl. She thought I was going to stick her up or something. She didn't know what was going on. But anyway, I told her I'm a Black Panther. I can't be seen talking to you in public. Give me your name and your telephone number, write it on a piece of paper and hand it back to me. So she was scared. She was frozen. Behind me, something says, "Assalamu alaikum." The guy should talk very slow. He says, "I'm going to cry like to get to this." He says, "Assalamu alaikum."
That's him, all right.
I'm like, what the heck? Turn around. Hey, man, what are you doing sneaking up on? Don't sneak up on me, man. He said, what are you scared of? I ain't scared of nobody. I got 2 guns, one in my bag and one in my belt. Because I said the black Muslims, they are trying to abduct us and take us to the masjid. And they'll beat you, take you to the masjid, and beat you until you accept their Islam. Then give you some newspapers and this and that, and tell you better bring the money back here. So they used to get people like that. Snatch them right off the streets. So I said, he said, brother. He said, I said, "Assalamu alaikum."
Allah.
I said, "Wa alaikum salam." He said, no. Pay attention, brother. When somebody says "Assalamu alaikum" to you, that's a prayer. So say "Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah." So I said, okay. "Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah." The book line's moving up. White girl standing there, her head frozen, with her hair standing up. The 2-3 security guards are peeping what's going on over here, So now I say, okay, brother. He says, brother, he gave me some doubt. He warned me. He said, brother, you need to come to the masjid and take your shahada in 3 days before Allah does something to you. What do you mean Allah doing something to me? Don't do nothing to me, man. He said, brother, he said, look, you have a gun in your bag and you have a gun in your belt. He says, that's why you're walking around armed like that. You're scared. How you know what I got in my... I said, wait a minute, man. You one of them jinns you talk about? No, bro. He said, don't worry about what I am or who I am. You got 3 days, you need to be in the masjid before Allah does something. So I said, okay, inshallah. He said, no. It's inshallah. Inshallah. So until he got me, he said, okay, inshallah, I will come to the masjid and I will come to the masjid and take my shahada. Inshallah. I said, inshallah. He said, mashallah. Mashallah. He shook my hand. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I said, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. So when I turned halfway back around, white girl's frozen. 3 black girls are over there and they're waving at me, because I was on TV. I'm a hero, spokesman. So they're waving at me and I give them the, we say yo. So now I noticed that the security guards, they called backup and everything. So it's 5 guards. They got the doors and they're getting the people trying to hurry the students, hundreds of students, out of the book building. So I said, I gotta escape, Saw him there. I went down the roads and this and that, and they're moving around and they're calling for more real police backup and everything. And Allah subhanahu allowed me to get out, go around and go out one of the back doors. I knew the place very well. They probably more better than them actually. So I went out the back door and I escaped. Alhamdulillah. So 3 days later, I woke up with this lightning, this flash of lightning, and I said, what was that? After I went around and everything, I went and sat down and I said, what was? And I said, I looked at the calendar and I said, oh man, 3 days ago, that dude, man, he said, I better be in the mosque or Allah's going to get me. So Allah put that fear in me, man. I better go to the mosque, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. So I go out the door, get on my bike, ride 10 miles up to Temple University. Even there were some girls on the way there waving, you know, and call. I went over there to talk to them. Police come up and they try to, intimidate me. What are you doing out here at 5 o'clock in the morning? Black men on the campus walking up Broad Street. You know, and I told the girls, look, you want to see something, sisters? Watch this. I said, you need to go and mind your business. We're students from Temple University. You need to go out in the hood over there and find those burglars and robbers and crooks and mess with them instead of messing with us.
Sure.
So, alhamdulillah, like that.
The time is up. Can you tell us when you took the Shahada?
I went to the campus, 6 o'clock in the morning. I went to the campus. And I said, what am I doing here? I have no books. I ain't even got my guns or nothing. You know, I went out the house like this. Allah had my brain, you know. So I went to the class. I had to wait a couple hours for physical class. After physical class, I came out and said, oh, man, look at the clock. I said, 3 days ago, that dude told me there's only a few hours left. Let me go to the mosque. I went to the masjid. Masjid was right down the street from the temple. I went to the masjid, and as soon as the electric door, as soon as they opened the electronic door, then the dude said, who is it? I said, it's you know, taller. He said, oh, assalamu alaikum. I said, wa alaikum assalam. So I came in. So he says, Sheikh Mujahid's up there waiting for you. He said, he's been waiting 3 days here. He's fasting and waiting, talking about your coming. So he said, let me call him. So that's the day I came in. I went straight upstairs. I said, what do I got to do to accept Islam? And did that. He called Dawood, the carpenter. He called Dawood, the security people. All these guys, Vietnam War veterans. They came up, sat me in a circle, and I took that shahada. Later on, the Sheikh Mujahid gave me, take a shower, wash, everything, change your clothes, gave me Muslim clothes, because I had clothes with my dog hairs on and all that. He gave me shahada a second time. And then he named me Abdul Muqaddim.
Allah.
Wouldn't let me out of the masjid until I wrote my name properly in Arabic and in English, and until I was able to recite the whole Fatiha and make the complete salat. So that day, I was in the mosque from like 11 in the morning till 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So nobody takes shahada here except they have to know how to pray when they go back out in that dunya. So that's how it happened.
Barakallahu feekum. Sheikh, a quick question. The sister that you met at the library, that was a librarian.
I didn't mention her name, but yeah, she was Sunni, holy Muslim.
Okay.
Her kids were in our school. She had like 7 or 8 kids.
That's good. Barakallahu feekum.
Yeah.
Donc alhamdulillah, anga karamu alhamdulillah, Sheikh, anga Sheikh alhamdulillah. Ay kuma chama fo me ala ka barka do ala. Mamena be samarize inshallah. Si ça allait quelqu'un bo nation islam na aux États-Unis ya no islamate ustad Harun Boudon déjà islamaute islamate ko rebula drobe salam di mais islamaute. Donc si ça allait tarayro de là parce à ce moment ere aller à kera mogobaye quoi jusqu'à ce qu'abe bo télévision na tout ça là. Atara librairie de la astro islamamuso dorebeno. O islamamuso akunte aksuna kunu et puis avec aselu uniforme beke. Donc a commencé à sunna mo yesisa. Au coffre, alhamdulillah, j'ai donc à Makagata Misri de la Misri, ou Misri Moron, ou Suna Mogore, avec Philadelphia. Donc, assiste avec un Bosuna Ko Kalama. Quoi qu'ato Misri, ou what la chaîne, comme il faut bella de Nokato Misri là. Donc, si ça donne donc, Kato Dora, Mo ni Yoche, chez Dorinarama, chaîne américaine à Toko Mujahid. O Mujahid, Nara, Bora, aller de quoi à coffre. Akamako, salam alaikum. À ce moment là grina kala je parce que wati la ko marfa flare kumba bro parce que wati la besira na kundo donc lui akomeka ise ka protéger donc mujahid kama kona ko assalamu alaikum ko nebe ka kisi nyashima donc okona lo ko fait ça mujahid kelen ko fama mujahid kama ko mena 3 jours de dimat les saba ikata ni misri na ikado slama ayere la ikado sunna la ika bom ibe dina mi ninte dina ika bola donc on a là so ko mo be ka ale la je mo do be ka fo tout ça là o kanga police wole tout ça là o ko fala ese ale ese ka échapper donc si ça ay kuma chama fo jusqu'à ce que ale ake atara o misiri la dron atara ay mujahid ni ngali ko ya nyirara mujahid fana ka atonyo wole et puis tonyo c'est toi les gens de amse ka fo mo mi Vietnam karaoke ci korba koro de do donc on nana aka kalimatu shahadata o ko fe mujahid ya to da ko Abdul Muqaddim ayo to da la ako mujahid maso akabo misiri ko jusqu'à ce que ay seli be question na yo don ako ko parce que olu bore ke ni mo na ko misiri ko ndala uti blakata jusqu'à ce que ka seli question don Donc, Zawallahu khaira, barakallahu fikum.
Alhamdulillah. Donc, notre papa, Inch'Allah, va nous expliquer comment est-ce qu'il va découvrir le vrai islam. Il dit, lorsqu'il est arrivé à New York, il a croisé, comme on l'avait dit tout à l'heure, n'est-ce pas, des vrais musulmans. Et c'est dans ces rencontres-là qu'il a commencé à découvrir un peu. Et lui, vu son statut au sein des Mission of Muslims, qui était cet islam qu'ils avaient compris que c'est un islam seulement exclusif aux Noirs. Donc, lui, c'était un leader là-bas. Donc, il avait même les émissions à la télé. Machallah, c'est quelqu'un qui était beaucoup suivi. Et c'est ainsi qu'un jour, il allait faire, n'est-ce pas, une émission dans une télé où il a vu une femme musulmane. Mais il a vu un islam qui n'est pas l'islam qu'on les enseigne de l'autre côté là-bas. Il a vu, elle prie, de toute façon, elle se voile parce que eux là-bas, les gens de Elijah Muhammad, les femmes ne s'habillent pas comme nos femmes à hijab. Hein. Elles ont leur manière de s'habiller, c'est comme les chrétiennes. C'est plus, ça ressemble plus aux chrétiens. Moi-même, personnellement, j'ai vu ça là-bas. Alors, lorsqu'il a vu cette dame-là, habillée correctement, fait ses prières, ça l'a tiqué. C'est comme ça qu'Allah fait qu'un jour, il va croiser un des chers musulmans qu'on appelait Mujahid, ici même à Philadelphie. Il dit, ce frère Mujahid, le premier jour qu'il va croiser ce frère-là, il dit, le frère, pendant qu'il était arrêté, il avait deux pistolets, parce qu'ici en Amérique, c'est comme ça. Il avait deux pistolets avec lui, parce qu'il n'y a pas tellement la sécurité que tout le monde est sous sa garde. Donc, il dit, pendant qu'il était arrêté, le cheikh, il est arrivé derrière, il a dit, assalamu alaikum, lui voulait enlever en même temps, n'est-ce pas, ses armes. Mais finalement, le frère a dit, non, le salam, c'est la paix que je te souhaite. Donc, c'est pas, je ne suis pas ton ennemi et tout ça. Et il a demandé, toi, tu es musulman? Il a dit, oui, je suis musulman. Quel islam? Il commence à expliquer l'islam qu'il fait pendant des années et des années. Et le cheikh lui dit, non, c'est pas ça le vrai islam. Mais le vrai islam, c'est ça, c'est ça, c'est ça, c'est ça, c'est ça, la sunna. Et je t'invite à visiter cette mosquée tel jour. Il dit 3 jours après, il s'est rendu à la mosquée, il a croisé le cheikh Mujahid. Il dit lorsque le cheikh l'a vu, machallah, il a accueilli, il a appelé les autres frères qui étaient dans la mosquée. Il dit c'était les vétérans de la guerre du Vietnam. Donc, ces vieux, ils sont arrivés, machallah, ils se sont assis avec lui. Et c'est en ce moment qu'il a prononcé la shahada. Moi, je vais lui poser une question maintenant. How many old? Combien d'années s'est passé pendant qu'il était dans... Parce qu'il avait 15 ans. De 15 ans, jusqu'à quel moment il a fait le vrai shahada?
Okay. So you basically were in the nation of Islam at the age of 15, right?
Yeah, I was supposed
So at what age did you become Sunni
Shahada.
Muslim? You took the shahada.
I was in college.
Yeah, what
I was
age?
like 19, 20, right there. 19.
What age? What age were you?
Like 19.
Oh, 19 years old.
19, 20
Okay.
years old in college.
Voilà. Donc, ça,
First year of college, second year of college.
Il avait 15 ans.
First year.
De 15 ans maintenant jusqu'à
First
19 ans. À l'âge de 19 ans, il est devenu vrai
Il est
musulman.
devenu vrai musulman, machallah.
It happened to be my birthday at that time. I was fasting.
Oh, mashallah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one point, inshallah ta'ala, clarification. Clarification. Hold on. Mujahid. Tariq Abdul Ba'ith. Mujahid. We were living together 10, 15 years ago. No, let's say around 2010, around 2010, we were living together, going to masjid together. We had come back together again. I had been living in other places, other states and stuff. So I was back here with family.
Okay.
We going to the masjid.
Yeah,
I asked him.
He just wants to finish the translation. He just want to finish it really quick.
Yeah.
1 second.
He said
Donc-
he never was in the masjid. It wasn't him there that did that.
Okay, Jazakallah
He
khair.
didn't never go in bookstore, in Temple University bookstore in his life. So that means that was an angel or something from Allah.
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
Donc là, ici, Inch'Allah Ta'ala, c'est ainsi que là, il avait maintenant 19 ans. Il avait 19 ans, après avoir passé presque ces 4 ans, n'est-ce pas, dans cet islam qui n'est pas le vrai islam. Il va découvrir le vrai islam. Et le cheikh, lorsqu'il va le faire convertir à l'islam, il va insister qu'il puisse apprendre, n'est-ce pas, comment faire la prière. Il dit chez eux, c'est comme ça. lorsque quelqu'un s'est converti à l'islam, il faut que la personne commence déjà à connaître comment faire la prière, n'est-ce pas? On lui donne les notions de l'islam avant de le libérer, Inch'Allah ta'ala. Donc voici un peu, Inch'Allah ta'ala, cette histoire magnifique, Inch'Allah ta'ala, de ce papa, que nous demandons à Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala de le stabiliser, de l'affermir, ainsi que nous tous, Inch'Allah ta'ala, dans l'islam, car afin que nous mourons avec la foi, que nos dernières paroles dans cette histoire, la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa sallam, alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Inshallah.
Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Mais atena bla ama ustad inshallah Haruna faga Qur'an kalani parce que americaine nu bébé aka Qur'an kalani farin nan nyani ngalike ninkum oh mimbe Qur'an kala kanya inshallah we're going to request our ustad to recite some verses from the Quran inshallah. Faddal Sheikh.
Allah.
The opening.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد خلقنا الإنسان من سلالة من طين ثم جعلناه نطفة في قرار مكين ثم خلقنا النطفة علقة فخلقنا العلقة مضغة فخلقنا المضغة عظاما فكسونا العظام لحما ثم أنشأناه خلقا آخر فتبارك الله أحسن الخالقين ثم إنكم بعد ذلك لميتون ثم إنكم بعد ذلك لميتون ثم إنكم يوم القيامة تبعثون صدق الله العظيم.
جزاكم الله خير بارك الله فيكم يا شيخ.
بارك الله فيكم ما شاء الله.
جزاك الله خير.
الحمد لله.
On va profiter de montrer la mosquée aussi, Inch'Allah. On va acheter Masjid al-Salam, Inch'Allah.
ما شاء الله بارك الله فيكم. أنا
Masjid
مسرور
al-Salam.
جدا. I'm very happy to
Masjid al-Salam, alhamdulillah. Inch'Allah.
meet you. شكرا.
Même quitte jusqu'à dehors, Inch'Allah. For those who wants to support the masjid, Inch'Allah.